Ladies and women, Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet. This is The Kill. You're in a loser show. Let's fucking go. You know, after all of these episodes doing this show, I always try and come up with an interesting way to do the intro. And at some point, I run out of ideas, especially when I'm tired. So that's the best I can do today, guys. I'm a little bit tired, done a couple of calls. It's been a really interesting day, really cool day. So we're on day 7 of my 365-day project, which is to do something every single day. And if you're wondering why there aren't many videos on the channel in the last 7 days, don't forget that I said I'm doing this in multiple different forms. So I've done one short, which doesn't actually show up on the channel. You have to sort of go into the channel and click shorts, so you might have missed that one. And then I've done a bunch of actual Spotify podcasts. So go onto Spotify or Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, whatever. Just search for Kill Your Inner Loser. You might have been missing out on those if you haven't been checking those out. So day 7, loving the project so far. I've already built up a couple of buffers where I've recorded extra podcasts and stuff just in case I have a rainy day. So that's been a ton of fun. But let's talk about the title of this podcast. I had a coaching client today, which is technically my first female coaching client, solo female. I've coached a couple before, as in a male and female couple in a relationship. You guys know what a couple is. You can tell I'm fucking tired. I coached a couple before. This is the first time I've ever just coached a solo female in this kind of form. Obviously, I've mentored women, Imogen, our entire relationship, plenty of the girls that we've dated in the last 4 or 5 years and, before that. But this was the first time that I ever got to actually sit down with a real live woman and coach her. Because obviously most of my audience are male, right? Because that's who I've targeted up until this point. And it went really freaking well. I mean, I thought it would go pretty well, but holy crap, it was a great freaking call. Amazing. Shout out to her I don't know if she'll watch this, but what a lovely human being. She's just a really freaking nice human being. And so we talked through a lot of the stuff that she was going through, and, I won't tell what the personal details were and stuff, but it seemed like, at least from her point of view, it was a really helpful call. And it definitely was really nice to me. And I know I seem very chill in this podcast, but an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours ago, I was super excited. I'm just really tired at the moment, but I wanted to jump on here and just talk to you guys. And obviously I'm doing this every day anyway, so I may as well say hi, what's up? But it was a really nice thing. It's something that I've wanted for a long time, to mentor and coach women as much as men. And again, like I said, I sort of have been doing that with my girlfriend and other women. There's a lot of mentorship that I'm already doing and some female friends and stuff. But this was the first time actually sitting down with a woman and doing this sort of professional coaching. And it was really cool. This is something I've wanted for a long time. I've said to a lot of my friends like Cam, you guys know him as Radical, and a bunch of my other friends that I want to move more in this direction where I'm giving advice not just to men, but women as well. And you guys might have noticed that in a lot of videos, I'm sort of saying, yeah, and this applies to women as well. Or I'll say, and for women, this is what I would suggest. And so I'm sort of moving in that direction anyway. But a lot of the content, a lot of the ideas that we have, especially when it's self-improvement and stuff like that, most of that stuff applies to women as well. And I understand targeting a niche of targeting men, which was obviously what I did or what I have done, for the longest time. But at some point it's weird to say hey men, here's the issue that you're dealing with, here's how to solve it. And then your brain goes well, yeah, but women are going through that same exact freaking thing and the exact same solution applies. And then you just sort of blurt out, yeah, and that applies to women too. And I was kind of doing that at the start for a while. And then at some point I was just why am I sort of only giving advice to men? And so, yeah, this has sort of just been a direction that I've been moving in. You guys have probably already noticed that I've been saying it for the last year or two, right? And women, this applies to you too. But it was nice to sort of sit down with an actual female coaching client. And again, I already knew this was the case, but it's nice to see that all the advice applies exactly the same. And that you don't, generally speaking, have to change even your delivery of it. I'm still myself. I still swore like a motherfucker on the call. But it's nice to be able to branch out a little bit. And, if you're asking if I'm still going to do advice for men, yes, of course. Don't stress about that. But it's more that, the stuff that does apply to women, I'm going to make it more clear that I'm speaking to people in general rather than men. And women do this too, right? There's a lot of female self-improvement that will focus on women, and it's that advice applies to men too. And I think we just sort of I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just we have like a target audience in mind. And I guess what I'm getting to in a roundabout way is I like expanding a little bit. And someone that I've seen do this pretty well is Mark Manson. If you don't know, he's like a super guru, famous self-help guy. He's written a couple of books. He's done a bunch of seminars. But when he first started out, he was just coaching men. He wrote a book called Models, and he used to be like a pickup artist and stuff like that. And so he was solely targeting men, and he just kind of like branched out a little bit. So, that's something that I want to sort of do a little bit more of. And if you think about it, a lot of the basic stuff that we talk about, right? Like put yourself first, put your needs first. Generally speaking, nobody is going to give you the things you want without you at least asking for them. Like the world isn't just going to give you a miracle and say, here you go, here's the thing that you didn't even ask for. You kind of have to like put in some effort and ask for it and go for the things you want. You want to be improving yourself every single day. You want to give yourself permission to suck. You want to be principled, and honesty is the best policy and all of that kind of stuff. You want to leave people better than you found them. You want to give value. You want to, take steps every single day. You want to never quit. Like all of the general advice that I give you guys, that absolutely applies to women as well. Even a lot of the stuff that you guys struggle with, like, I struggle to like be more assertive, or I struggle to like, go out there and take what I want. It's like, God damn, like women are struggling with that shit too. So it's been a lot of fun being able to move in that direction. And again, a lot of you probably don't even notice that I've done that. Like even if because it's been like a slow transition, you know what I mean? It's been me giving myself permission to reach a wider audience. And I don't think the content's really changed. It's more that I've just been like not closing it off so much. I'd phrase it like that. I don't think if you look back, the content has changed over the last like 2 years. I'm saying all the same stuff. If anything, I'm probably a little bit more open and a little bit more, not blunt, but like honest and direct. Yeah, maybe you'd call that blunt. But it's more that I feel like I'm opening it up a little bit and being like, yeah, and women, this applies to you too. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Again, I know I don't seem very excited here, but like, trust me guys, after the call, I was like, oh my God, I've wanted this for so long. And I haven't talked about this either. Maybe I'll talk about this in a separate video, but I also I've started coaching a couple of couples. So two different people signed up for the coaching, and for both of them, they're both guys. And I said like, you can bring your girl, because they're both in long-term relationships. I said, you can just bring your girlfriend on the calls if you want to. Bring your partner on the calls and I'll coach her too. And so I've already coached one of them, and the second one, we're going to do the call. I don't know if he's going to bring his girlfriend for the first session, but, I'm going to do couples counseling a little bit with him. And yeah, the first one with the first couple I did, oh my God, they're such an amazing couple. Like just genuinely freaking amazing people who are both like absolutely on board with all of the relationship stuff that I say, build something. Like you want to be growing as individuals and as a couple. You want every day that you spend together to be like 0.1% better than the previous day. Like you want to have a purpose to the relationship. You want to be going somewhere. You want to leave each other better than you found each other. Like you want your lives to be better because you met. And they're absolutely on board with all of those things. And like, holy crap, it was so unbelievably rewarding to get to counsel, or coach, whatever you want to call it, two people at the same time and see them both on some things not be on the same page, but then you could find a way to bring them together on the same page, and then it would click and they'd go, oh shit, I'm on your team. Not that they weren't on each other's team, but now they're like, oh shit, I understand what you're saying now. Now I'm on the same page as you. So that was I felt almost like at times I was the facilitator between the two of them with a couple of things. And then on top of that, their biggest cheerleader, because this couple, man, what an amazing couple that I get to work with for my first, technically it's my second couple that I've counseled, but the other one was a one-off call a year ago. So this is the first time I've had a couple sign up for the one-on-one coaching. And again, like I said, there's a second couple that have now signed up. I just haven't done any calls with them yet. So I couldn't have found a better couple for the proper first, one-on-one coaching couple that I get to do for 12 weeks, because, oh my God, the amount of respect they have for each other, it made my job, not that this is a job, but it made my coaching it was so freaking easy, because you can just tell that these two are just absolutely on the same team and absolutely want to build something fucking amazing. So this was a ton of fun. This is a direction that I've been moving in slowly over the last, year or two. You guys have seen me do a lot more content about relationships and building something amazing and the step that comes after you get laid, right? Because I think most of you knew this was never just going to be, I get laid and then my life is complete. It's like, no, what if I want intimacy with a woman? What if I want a relationship? What if I want marriage and kids? Or what if I don't want those things, but like I want to build a business or something? Or what if I want to travel the world and help people? What if, whatever it is that I want, there's always something that's, like, sex isn't just the thing that's going to carry you through for the rest of your life. Sex is amazing, don't get me wrong, but like there's other wonderful things out there that you'll want to explore. So I think you guys know that I was sort of moving in this direction. And I've said this a million times. I'm still going to talk about sex. Trust me, I love sex. I'm a horny little pervert just as much as the rest of you. I love talking about sex. I love talking about getting laid. I love talking about threesomes and relationships and sex and dating and all of that stuff. So we're still going to cover all of that. But it's been nice to sort of branch out a little bit, because one of probably my biggest mentor, which, you know, you guys, most of you know, was Good Looking Loser, Chris from Good Looking Loser. And all of his content was, okay, three main categories, I think. A lot of it was getting laid. The vast majority of it was like, here's how to get laid. Another huge chunk of it was self-improvement. Here's how to make yourself a better man. And then, you know, some of you won't know this, but he has a second website where he talked a lot about business. And oh my God, that website was amazing. Like, it's still up there. It's gll-getalife.com. gll-getalife.com. And man, that website had so much, or has so much useful information. Anyway, Good Looking Loser talked mostly about self-improvement, getting laid, and a bit about business. And not a ton about business, but more than enough to change my goddamn life. I'll always be grateful to him for that. But there was nothing on relationships, like literally nothing. And that's just because that wasn't what he wanted to talk about, right? Like it's just by the time he finished with his website, you know, he got into a relationship and then he didn't continue writing about it. And so it felt nice to almost be able to like take the torch and like carry it on from him. Like, you know, he covered everything on getting laid, and I expanded upon that, you know, with the online dating stuff and threesomes and BDSM and, you know, honesty during sex and being upfront and leaving girls better than you found them and all that kind of stuff, right? But it felt nice to be able to carry on from that and go, okay, well, like my main mentor didn't do anything about relationships, so it'd be cool if I can do that. And I've really enjoyed that content, guys. Like, I really, really, really like talking about relationships. I really love having Imi on. A lot of the time, she and I will walk around and we'll just be sort of, you know, talking and thinking, and we'll be going over our philosophies in relationships and what has helped us and maybe some mistakes we made. And I'll come up with all these exciting ideas for podcasts. And I really love sitting down and doing that kind of content. Again, I'm still excited by the like sex stuff. I probably always will enjoy that stuff, but it's nice to be able to move into that, or open up. I'll say that, open up and expand into that sort of additional space. You know what I mean? And be able to talk about relationships. And I'm going to do the same with business. I know I don't really like calling it business. Okay, here's something you guys can maybe help me with. I've been going two different ways on like what to call the money, like any topics I'm going to do on money. I think I'm going to call them money/financial abundance. That seems to click well with me. I don't like calling it business, because I don't call I was thinking about this the other day. I don't call this a business. What I have, I don't call it business. The government calls it a business. I am taxed as I'm a corporation, or I'm in the process of setting up being so I'm essentially a corporation, right? But like, I just don't see it like that. It doesn't feel like a business. It feels like, I don't know, just like talking to people. And so anyway, maybe this is me just literally being autistic with words, and maybe none of you give a shit, but I'm thinking my content that's about money, I'll just call it money/financial abundance, because yeah, the word business doesn't really click for me. Business doesn't mean anything. None of you really start a business to start a business. You're starting a business to work towards something, right? Whether that's financial abundance or financial freedom is another word that I sort of thought about. That's what Caleb Jones, one of my favorite guys, he calls it, financial freedom. And so, yeah, I don't think I'll call it business. But anyway, completely fucking off topic. I am going to expand into that more, or I've started expanding into that realm a little more of financial freedom, financial abundance, talking about stuff like that. I've done quite a few podcasts over on my Spotify channel, or you know, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're freaking finding my podcast. I've done a few videos, or a few podcasts, I should say, on financial freedom and stuff like that. So I'm going to expand into that. Yeah, I think those are the two things that I'm covering, that I want to start covering more of, or that I am covering more of, I should say. Relationships and financial abundance. But I'm having a lot of fun with this content. I'm really grateful that you guys get a lot out of the content. I'm really grateful for every single one of you that works on yourself and improves yourself and has the courage to go for the things you want and to work towards your goals and all of that. It's very humbling. I think humbling is the best word I can come up with. Every single time I get a comment or an email or something from someone saying, hey, I did this, I made this change. Hey, dude, I followed your advice, it worked. Oh my God, I did this thing. It's a lot of you won't understand what I'm talking about until you actually do something like this, where you're doing a bunch of content, particularly content that helps people, but just content in general. It becomes almost bigger than you. I think that's the best way I can phrase it. My forums have become bigger than me. This YouTube channel has become bigger than me. My philosophies have become bigger than me. And the community is definitely bigger than me. And you get a bunch of people that are all sort of helping each other and pushing, even my coaching programs. Yes, people are ultimately paying me. If you sign up for coaching, you're ultimately paying me, right? You're paying me and you want to talk to me. But even in the coaching programs, man, I feel like I'm just the father that checks in every now and then and goes is everyone doing okay? It's all the other people who are actually pushing each other, right? It's the people in the Facebook group. It's the people in the Discord group. It's the people, outside of my coaching. It's the people on the forums who are all pushing each other. It's you guys in the YouTube comments. It's you at home, following the advice and actually doing it. It's a weird thing that happens when you make enough content and build enough of a community. It kind of just sort of takes care of itself. And then you become more of this paternal figure, I guess you could call it, the head of the community, but you're kind of just keeping it going. It's really nice. It's really nice to get to that point. It really is. It's nice to be part of something. I feel like I'm part of something now. I very much feel like I'm part of you guys as much as maybe you're part of, listening to my content. And I know I'm rambling a little bit here, but it's nice. I'll just say that it's nice. So I'm really enjoying this process so far. I'm enjoying all the coaching. I'm enjoying all the calls. I'm still doing one of the guys. I just finished one of those $150 30-minute calls I'm doing. And the guy basically asked me, do you think you're going to keep doing them for the next couple of months? And I can't fully predict the future, but I'm really having a lot of fun with those. I haven't talked a lot about those. Those are going really well. Part of my biggest sort of, I wouldn't say fear, but hesitation around opening myself up or making myself available to just sit down with me for a one-on-one call, like a once-off call. Part of my hesitation there was will that actually help anyone? Aren't you just buying 30 minutes? And most of the calls end up being way more than 30 minutes. I knew I was a liar on that. I said that at the very start. I was Imogen even said, honey, if you say 30 minutes, are you actually going to stick to 30 minutes or are they going to end up being an hour and a half calls? And I was like, you and I both know the answer to that. So half of the calls end up going way over time, but I enjoy that. But my biggest hesitation with doing once-off calls, and the reason why I've always had coaching packages, is you just achieve 10,000 times more in a coaching package, which is why I offer it like that, as in a 12-week program rather than a once-off call. And my biggest sort of reason for not doing once-off calls was, I just wasn't sure how much I could actually help people. But these calls have been going really, really, really well. They really have been going fucking amazingly. I've been constantly surprised by how brave everyone is who comes on, how, I know I'm just repeating myself, but courageous, how incredibly vulnerable and open people can be in half an hour, or, again, they usually end up being longer than that, but how much people are willing to work on themselves. And man, it's been fucking amazing. I've had some amazing calls. I'm going to do some podcasts and some content about some of the calls I've had. I will keep it anonymous, and I don't talk about personal details that people give me, but I kind of just talk about vague generalities, right? Some of them have been amazing. Quite a few people so far that have been really depressed. And my biggest concern with someone that sat down with me for depression was how the hell could I solve someone's depression, right? In half an hour, or even if they, a couple of people pay double so that they can have an hour. How can I solve depression in an hour? And I had a thought this morning when I was on this call, right, with this female client, and we talked a fair bit about some depression and some other stuff. Like, a little bit into it when I was kind of thinking in my head, how can I like fix this person's depression? I pulled back a bit, which I love doing this on my coaching calls. I pull back a bit and I'm like, my job isn't to fix this person. Like, they think my job is to fix them. No, it's fucking not. It's to help them fix themselves. Not that they're broken, but you guys know what I mean. It's to help them see if they have some of the answers inside themselves. And with that kind of like, it's a way of trying to not be the fucking expert. And that's something I've tried really hard with all of my content and all of the stuff that I've done in the coaching. I try really hard to not be the expert, because the second you call yourself the expert, man, what an incredible amount of pressure on yourself to like fix everybody. It's also not the best thing for your clients or for your audience. If you put yourself as the expert, which I think we all know, like a lot of channels sort of do that, right? Like, if you put yourself as the expert, you have to defend that. You have to be right all the time. It's hard to accept when you're incorrect or you made a false assumption or you got something really wrong, because you then worry that you won't be the expert. And so you end up being the opposite of humble. There's no humility there, because you're always trying to defend your ego and defend your points and be the one that's correct and be the expert and be the one that people respect and all of that. And you're not actually focused on helping anyone. You're more focused and you're wasting your time on just trying to defend your points rather than listening to what the other person actually has to say. And so on this call, it was really nice to sort of take a step back from myself and say, maybe she's the teacher. Maybe she's the expert. Let's go inside her brain and see if there's some wisdom in there, right? Because I don't fucking know. I don't know why she's depressed. How the hell could I know that? I don't know how to fix her depression. How the hell could I know that? It could be a million different ways to fix her depression. Like, fuck me. Imagine if I sit in there and say, you have to do this. This is the way that you solve your depression. And that's usually what depressed people get told, right? Here's what will fix your depression. You just need to go to the gym. You need to lift weights. You need to eat better. You need to get your sleep in order. That will fix you. But if you instead sort of go inside that person and say, okay, let's have a check. Why are you depressed? Do you know? Oh, you don't know? Okay, well, let's just start talking. Like, what do you want? What do you actually want from life? What's making you unhappy? Let's do an You just tell me. Just talk to me. And through this process of going inside, we were able to discover some stuff. And turns out, guess what? She's pretty fucking wise. Like I said before, sometimes I sit there and I'll say, maybe this person is the teacher and I'm the student. And my job is to shut my fucking mouth and just listen to them. And the number of times that my coaching clients and you guys in the comments and stuff like that have given me some incredible wisdom that I go, oh my God, like, fuck me. I'm so glad I didn't go in there with an agenda of trying to tell you what the right answer is or tell you what you should do or talk over the top of you and say, listen, I'm the expert. You need to shut your fucking mouth and do what I say. If I just don't act like that, if I just listen, man, you get some amazing insights, some amazing wisdom. And then what happens? The coaching client or you guys in the audience, you realize, oh, fuck, I had the answer. I actually figured out the fucking answer. I don't need this coach. Holy shit. I mean, this coach helped, but like, Jesus fucking Christ, I have the answers. I don't need them. Oh my God, I'm okay. I'm okay as I am. And, this female coaching client of mine today, we were able to get to a point where she was like, maybe I'm okay. And I was like, yeah, maybe you are. That's kind of cool. Maybe you're okay being depressed. Maybe depression is okay. Maybe that's perfectly okay. And like, there is so much peace in that. And I've done that with I've gotten, I would say coaching clients have led themselves and me along with them to that point where they just are okay. I've worked with so many people that have had like severe anxiety, performance anxiety, erectile dysfunction. God, that's such a common one. Like, so many people that really struggle with all these sort of mental health issues, and they can sort of lead them, and I can help them. I facilitate that, but we sort of lead towards this path of them going like, maybe everything's okay. And maybe, all I want to do is wake up every day and just aim to be a little bit better. And maybe my anxiety will get better. Maybe it won't. Who fucking knows? But I'm going to wake up every day and try. That's a much nicer, easier, more peaceful, more productive, more helpful position to be in, rather than like, I'm anxious and I'm not okay. I'm depressed and I need to fix it immediately. I'm fucked up and I have to fix this. Or my I can't get a hard dick with a woman. How am I ever going to find love if my dick doesn't work? It's all these sort of stressful thoughts. And so it was a really nice coaching call. It was a really, really genuinely nice coaching call. And to bring it back to the original topic, it's been really nice doing these 30-minute, again, most of them turn out to be like over an hour, some of them 2 hours. But it's been really nice doing these coaching calls. I'm really freaking enjoying them. I'm constantly surprised by the insights that a lot of people have that they never even knew was inside them. And one of my coaching clients right now, as in one of the guys who signed up for the proper like one-on-one, full-on 12-week coaching program, he's started coaching other people. That was one of the things he signed up with me going, I want to start a business. And I was like, well, what do you actually, long story. I eventually got him or helped him get to the point where he's like, shit, I think I want to be a coach. And so he's been doing that. He's been coaching a few people. And yeah, man, some of the insights that he's had, he's realized some of the same stuff as me. He's like, holy shit, I'm the student. Like my clients are often more enlightened and smarter than me. They're teaching me things. And I'm like, yeah, brother, that's what I've learned too. Yeah. Like we're the ones that are in this amazing position where we get to learn and listen to a variety of different people and, coaching clients and, you guys, my audience in the comments section, or those of you who email me, those of you on the forums. We're in this beautiful position where we get all these people like giving us all this information of what works, what doesn't, what they've learned, what they haven't learned, like all of that kind of stuff. And man, like if you can just open yourself up and like, I guess you'd say humble yourself enough to be at the position of I'm the student, not the teacher. Oh my God. Like it feels like you're the one that benefits. There are so many coaching calls I have where the person is like, oh my God, thank you so much. And literally I end every coaching call now saying like, thank you for sitting down with me. I feel like I learned a lot. And they're like, are you kidding me? I learned a lot. And I'm like, no, I was the one that fucking learned and you paid me. So like, thank you. At some point, and I don't think this is going to happen anytime soon, but then again, how can I predict the future? At some point I would like to do, I don't know if I would do free calls, but I'd like to start, I'm moving more in that direction. And these $150 calls feel like moving in that direction of like giving away some of my time. And I don't want to give away all my time, right? Because my time it means a lot to me. I really like having free time and stuff, but I would like to move in the direction of giving some of my free time for less. And these $150 calls feel like a nice, happy medium right now where I can, still make a little bit of money. And I feel like, yeah, I'm moving towards my goals, but it feels like it's not unreachable for a lot of people. So it's this nice happy medium. But the point that I eventually want to get to is giving away my time. It's not even giving away because I'm giving it to myself. Using my time to help people for free. And I don't think that's anything I don't know if that's anything I'm going to do anytime soon. And I don't know if I would do it through the coaching, like through this medium. But I want to move in a direction of maybe, I don't know, like going and feeding the homeless for an evening. That's something my grandparents used to do, and they got a hell of a lot of value out of that. They used to drive around to people who were like really poor or in poverty or whatever, and they would just hand them like bread and, give them soup and give them some money and give them children's toys for their kids and stuff like that. I would love to do something like that. I could also see myself, in the short-term future volunteering at, I don't know what you guys have in different countries, but here we have these things that are they're like a thrift store. So you have a bunch of stuff that's really cheap, but the proceeds go towards charity. And everything in the store is super cheap, so it's like affordable for people that don't have a lot of money. And they basically have volunteers that work in these places. And I don't think you have to do anything I think you just have to say like, yo, do you want me to, maybe you have to do like a background check or something, I don't know. But, I'd like to work at those places for a little bit. But yeah, I get so much joy out of focusing as best I can on like giving to people. And really I'm giving to myself when I give to people. And this content feels like a nice way to do that. Obviously all these videos are free. I would like to keep the majority of the stuff on the majority of stuff that I give is going to be free. I also like the idea of charging for some of it so you can get passive income. So then you don't need to do coaching calls as much. Like right now, I don't want to use the word need, but like I do coaching calls to pay the bills. Let's phrase it like that. I'd like to be at a point where more of my income, and I'm moving towards this, where more of my income is passive. And so it's like, then I get to choose how I spend my time. And I want to spend a lot of that doing, if not free coaching calls, but like very heavily discounted coaching calls where it's like you just sit down with someone, you get to just help them, get to listen to them, get to learn from them. I'm really enjoying that medium. I'm glad I decided to sort of take this leap of faith of like, should I offer $150 coaching calls? Like, Is that like lowering my value too much? Like I had so many people that were like, dude, your coaching is like $10,000, you know, your group coaching is like $5,000, like $150 is like lowering your value. And I don't know, I was just like, I can see the benefit of doing that. Anyway, I'm completely rambling, guys. I told you this was going to be a very casual. I'm super tired, but I'm having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying all these calls. The call today was absolutely amazing. Definitely going to coach way more women. If there's any women listening who want coaching, I'm still offering, like I said, those $150 coaching calls. That's what the woman today took up. She paid for 2 of them. She did an hour, but even if you just want to do 30 minutes, I'm here. If you're a female listener, let's say this. How about we make this kind of fun? If you're a female listener, please leave a comment if you want to. I'm not your dad. I can't make you. Unless you want to call me daddy, and then, you know, hey, that can be a kink that we share together. So do daddy a favor. If you're not into that, I apologize. But leave a comment below saying maybe how you found my content, why you're watching, what you get out of it, like something like that. I'm genuinely curious. At this point, we started out having basically like 0.1% of my audience is female. And I think the last time I checked, it was up to like 7% of my audience are female, at least on YouTube. I don't know what it's like on other platforms. So that's fascinating to me. And that's only in the last year. And I think a big part of it has been because I have been speaking to women in my content. You know, I say, and women, this applies to you too, or this is not just for men. So maybe another big thing that's helped is having Imogen, my girlfriend, on more, although she was always in my content, so I don't think it's that. But yeah, if you're a woman and you're watching, it'd be awesome if you could leave a comment and just say either how you found this content or what you're getting out of it or why you listen to it. Or maybe you could, if you want this, you could suggest something or ask, tell me something that you would like me to do content on. Maybe if there's some like pain point in your life or something you want some advice on, or maybe you want to hear from Imogen, my girlfriend, on her thoughts on something, like, you know, you're more than welcome, and we'd love to do a podcast on that. But yeah, any female listeners, I'd really love to hear from you. Everybody else, all you males, I'd love to hear from you too. So leave a comment, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I'm having fun with this format, having a lot of fun with just doing more coaching, honestly. It's nice being able to do a lot more coaching. I get so much out of it. It's so fucking rewarding. You cannot even begin to imagine. And so any of you who are sort of thinking, I want to quit my job and I want to be a coach, or I want to, you know, I had a guy today who was like, I want to do art and make money from that, and that's how I pay my bills. It's like, just bloody well start. Like, I wasn't perfect when I started. I didn't know the first thing about coaching. My first couple of calls were free, and then after that I charged like $10 an hour or something because I didn't think I would do a good job. But, you know, I was working a full-time job at the same time, so it's not like I had any time. I didn't have any time to do it, but I made time. It was important to me. It was something I wanted. So please don't make any excuses. Don't say I don't have time, I don't have money. I didn't have time, I didn't have money. Don't say I don't have the skills. I didn't have the skills. Don't say I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't know what I was doing. Don't say I might fail. I thought I might fail. Like, please don't use any of those excuses, because they are just excuses and you don't have to believe them. You can hear the excuse and then go, whatever, I'm going to try anyway. So please try. As I said, if you want one of the coaching calls, go nuts. If you're a woman, leave a comment. If you're a guy, leave a comment. If there's anything else I can do for you guys, please don't hesitate to ask. Leave a comment down below. Love you guys very much. Go out there and crush those goals.